Welcome to Divine Chronicles channel. When people think of the descendants of Adam and Eve, the first story that usually comes to mind is that of Cain and Abel. However, many often overlook the other biblical narratives that mention Adam and Eve's other sons and daughters. In this video, I will focus specifically on the daughters of Adam and Eve. Who were these daughters? How many were there? By examining sources such as the Book of Jubilees, the Holy Bible, and ancient traditions, I will explore and discuss the history of these daughters of Adam. So, if this topic interests you, don't forget to give it a like and leave a comment. Join me as we dive into this lesser-known story about the daughters of Adam and Eve. This subject, often neglected by theologians, biblical scholars, and even those curious about sacred scriptures, is the mystery surrounding the daughters of Adam and Eve. People typically focus on the more well-known sons of Adam and Eve, like Cain, the firstborn, and Abel, the second. But they often forget that Adam and Eve had many daughters. As the biblical text in Genesis 5 verses 4 to 5 reveals some intriguing details about the sons and daughters of Adam. The text states that after Seth's birth, Adam lived for another 800 years, during which he fathered sons and daughters, totaling 930 years of life before his death. Although the Bible does not provide the names of Adam and Eve's daughters, other ancient Jewish traditions do specify some of their names. Based on the Book of Jubilees, I will mention the names of some of Adam and Eve's daughters according to these ancient traditions, which shed light on these lesser-known figures. For those unfamiliar, the Book of Jubilees is also known as Little Genesis, due to its connection with the word Jubilee, which means joy. It is part of the Old Testament Apocrypha and recounts the creation of the world, the formation of Adam and Eve after the fall, and various stories of Old Testament characters, mainly from the Book of Genesis. While it is not a recent text, the oldest manuscript available dates back to around 700 BCE, though it is a copy of an even older work. Some scholars associate the Book of Jubilees with the Book of Chronicles, suggesting that the scribe Ezra may have written it. However, the Book of Jubilees claims that its true author was Moses, who received a revelation from an angel on Mount Horeb. It is worth noting that the Bible mentions Moses spent 40 days and 40 nights on Mount Horeb without eating or drinking in the presence of God. Given the antiquity of the text, it is possible that Moses could have been the actual author. The Book of Jubilees holds significant importance in Israelite culture, with numerous copies circulating among the people. It also references another mysterious apocryphal book, the Book of Enoch, which was well known to early Christians, and even included in the biblical canon they used. This emphasizes the importance of not dismissing the Book of Jubilees, as it contains events that align with biblical stories. Now, returning to Adam and Eve, according to various ancient Semitic Abrahamic traditions, the first daughter of Adam and Eve was named Avan. In Phoenician Hebrew, Avan means potency or vice. She was both the wife and sister of Cain, also a son of Adam and Eve. According to the Book of Jubilees, she bore children to Cain, one of whom was named Enoch. The Bible mentions Cain's construction of a city named after his son as one of his accomplishments after being banished for killing Abel. The city was called Enoch in honor of his son. The name Avan appears in the Book of Jubilees and other Abrahamic texts, though in some, like the Cave of Treasures, she is called Kelima. Therefore, Kelima was Cain's wife and the first daughter of Adam and Eve according to these traditions. According to several ancient Semitic traditions, the second daughter of Adam and Eve was Azura. Azura was the wife of Seth, the third son of Adam and Eve, born after Abel's death. The name Seth in Hebrew may be associated with the idea of compensation or substitution. This is relevant because, after Abel's murder by his brother Cain, Seth was considered by Adam and Eve as a divine compensation for the loss of Abel. Seth is seen as a righteous and pious descendant, and it is through his lineage that humanity continued to worship God according to the biblical narrative. Seth's genealogy is significant in the Bible as it leads to Noah, who played a crucial role in the story of the flood and humanity's survival. Thus, Seth and his wife Azura were an essential link in the genealogical chain that connects the creation of humanity to later events and important figures in the Judeo-Christian tradition. The Book of Jubilees presents an interesting detail by stating that Azura was initially Abel's wife and became a widow after his death. After Seth came of age, he married Azura, and from their union descended Seth's lineage, making Seth the initial patriarch of this line. The Book of Jubilees informs us that Azura was born in the 6th week of the 4th Jubilee and married her brother Seth in the 5th week of the 5th Jubilee. In the 4th year of the 6th week, she gave birth to a son and named him Enos. When Enos grew up, he married his sister Nam, who was also the daughter of Seth and Azura. Enos is one of the sons of Seth and Azura, and is known for his pious descent and devotion to the worship of God. The main reference to Enos in the Bible is found in Genesis 5 verses 6 to 11, which describes his genealogy as follows. Seth lived 105 years and begot Enos. After he begot Enos, Seth lived 807 years and had other sons and daughters. In total, Seth lived 912 years, and then he died. Enos lived 90 years and begot Cainan. After he begot Cainan, Enos lived 815 years and had other sons and daughters. In total, Enos lived 905 years, and then he died. The primary characteristic attributed to Enos is his practice of prayer and invocation of the name of God. Genesis 4 verse 26 states that at that time, people began to call on the name of the Lord. This passage suggests that Enos played an important role in promoting worship and devotion to God during his time, marking a period of spiritual and religious seeking among Seth's descendants. According to the ancient Book of Jubilees and Semitic Jewish tradition, Cain married his sister Avan, founding the lineage of Cain, while Seth married his sister Azura, founding the lineage of Seth. You might wonder how many sons and daughters Adam and Eve had. Biblical text indicates they had many children, especially considering Adam lived for over 800 years. In fact, Adam and Eve were the most fertile humans of their time. Eve, as the first woman, was extremely fertile, and Adam was also very fertile. According to these ancient traditions, they had hundreds and hundreds of sons and daughters throughout their lives. In modern times, according to the Guinness World Records, the woman who holds the record for the highest number of children in human history is Valentina Vasilyev. She reportedly passed away at 76, leaving behind 69 surviving children, with only 2 dying at a young age. According to Guinness World Records, Valentina Vasilyev underwent 27 pregnancies, resulting in 16 pairs of twins, 7 sets of triplets, and 4 sets of quadruplets. While there are other reports of women with 50 or even 60 children, Valentina Vasilyev remains the recognized record holder. However, Eve surpassed all these women in fertility, as she is considered the most fertile woman in human history. If a woman today, or even a century ago, could give birth to around 69 children, we can only imagine what Eve achieved, as she lived much longer, reaching the impressive age of 900 years, according to the biblical narrative. In Genesis 6 verse 1, it is mentioned that as Adam's descendants multiplied on earth, many beautiful daughters were born. A lesser-known curiosity is that both the sons and daughters of Adam and Eve had their own ethnic heritage, as Adam and Eve were originally of mixed race. This contributed to the ethnic diversity of humanity, which, while displaying various ethnicities and races, all share a common origin in Adam and Eve. The study of mitochondrial DNA, known as mitochondrial Eve, reinforces this idea, indicating that all humanity shares a common ancestry, despite the ethnic and racial diversity we see in the world today. Therefore, the mitochondrial genetic study revealed that all people descend from the same woman, contributing to the richness of ethnic and racial diversity in our world, all sharing a common connection with our ancestors. So, did you know the story of Adam and Eve's daughters? Feel free to leave your comments. Also, feel free to suggest new topics or characters from the scriptures you'd like to see in a video. Thank you very much for watching until this point. See you soon.